Okay, so in this tutorial we are going to be recreating this render I done a couple days ago. I actually ended up using it for my new banner. I did decide to make this picture in honor of my old phone, which let's just say I let it have a pleasant conversation with my wall a few days ago. Moral of the story, don't gamble your CSGO skins.
And I have temperamental issues, for Christ's sake. Leave me alone, John.
So it's a really nice render. Kind of looks like, it kind of looks like that one day we all remember when you left your phone at your house, when you went to work or school, and you spent all day in poverty, finally knowing what starved African kids live like. We're going to do something a bit different. We're not going to use a phone today, but you can use any model you want. I'm going to use my Razer Deathstalker model I created, which is available in my store. It also comes with materials, but I'm going to be showing you the depth of field, the lighting, materials that I use for the wood, etc. And the background, like you can see up here, up the top, was actually done in Photoshop. All the materials I used during the tutorial and the original image will be in a project file in the description below. Here are the examples of the final render I got from the tutorial, and if you follow correctly you will get very similar results. So we're going to get into it here, and feel free to use any model you want. Buy my model. There's plenty of models out there. You could use a mouse, you could use a keyboard, you could use a vape, you could use a cup, you could use anything. Literally anything. So let's get into it. Okay, so now being in cinema. Actually, don't want that in there. So now we're in cinema. I actually will animate a bit of this. Actually, I'll give it a little render as well, just so you can kind of see what it would be like moving as well. So, start off with, we'll get a plane, and we'll just kind of bring this down a little bit. Already have my render settings done. I will show you them. I have on output 1920 by 1080, so that's 1080p. Resolution at 100. When it comes to final render, I'll put that to about 300. Save PNG, put that 16-bit. Alpha channel text, and then we've got ambient occlusion, depth of field, object glow, and lens effects. And we will also enable anti-aliasing later on in this tutorial. So we're going to create a new material. Now this texture I will put it in the description. This walnut texture, same one I used in the other image. So it's here. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click up here. We're going to go down to double torus soft shadow. Now we're going to make this a little bit brown. Decrease the mix strength to about 90. And now we're going to go down to our specular. Bring this up. Make it thinner. Bring up the inner width. Make that a little bit thinner. Make it tall. So it's nice and shiny. And then go in the reflection tab and put it to about 30%. Put the blurriness to 5. Enable for now. And we're going to do a light brown to a dark brown. Okay, so we're going to put that on our plane. One cubic and seamless. Now to rotate this texture here, see we don't want it going up like that because it looks a little unorthodox, and especially if it was a shelf. So you're going to come to this, not the work plane, you're going to come to the texture mode here, go and rotate, enable the plane, and we're just going to hold shift and turn it 90 degrees. Then come back into our model mode, and now the texture is rotated. Now I'm quickly just gonna bring in my keyboard model here. Gonna make the plane bigger, looking at the scaling of things now for when it comes into our lighting. So I'm gonna make that a lot bigger. Probably go for maybe height about 350. And width about 1700. Not too big, but enough. I'm actually going to put this up a little more to 500. Now we're just going to tilt our model. And like I said, you can use any model you want. I do have this model available in my store. And we're going to bring that down. It's slowing down my project a little bit actually because the amount of keys on it. Bring this up. Make it a bit bigger again. Okay, nice. So as you can see, if we were to render this now, it would look quite nice. Now, I will include these textures also that I created for this model. Just in case you're using anything, you can kind of flow along with the textures. I'm going to come in my reflection map here and I'm going to put that up. I'm going to go to my specular. I'm going to bring that down. Bump that up. Bump that up. Okay. And we're just going to set a camera here also and focus on that. So, second step, here is our lighting. So we're going to grab a new light, infinite light. I'm going to want it coming in from the kind of top right, so up here. Or actually, I'm going to go back in the camera. I'm going to bring it in, coming in that way. Okay, nice. Make it kind of a warm scene, just like the one I created. And put the light influence intensity about 70%. And we'll put shadow map soft. Duplicate that light. Bring it in from kind of the bottom right side of the screen. Make it cold. That to about 45%. And ray traced shadow maps. Now if we give it a little render, the lighting's coming together, but we want it much more harsh. So we're going to grab a area light. I'm going to turn that. I'm going to make it warm. We're going to go in the details. I'm going to come down to fall off and inverse square physically accurate. Okay, nice. Bring that down a little bit, 80%. And shadow map soft. Come into the shadow tab, make it kind of grey, and set that to 75%. So now we have our lights. Next thing is a HDRI map. Now for this, I actually used a HDR of an apartment, which I'm going to do again, which I will also include in the description. I will have to go into my folder here and grab it. So, sketch effects. Here it was. In fact, no, that wasn't actually it, because that was the image I used for the background. It was here. Here we go. So we're going to right click on that, come down to double torus GI. We're going to apply that to the sky, right click, cinema 4D tags, compositing, and tick off scene by camera. Now if we render it, our reflections will be much more relatable to the scene. I'm going to turn down this so it's less metally. As you can see, it's coming along very nice. You shouldn't have to worry about this up here. That's just the thing that the light's doing. This won't be our final camera angle, it'll probably be more kind of like this. Might actually bend that wire coming down off the desk also. Or even, could put like a monitor here, whatnot. So, I'm going to come into this texture. I'm going to bring down the reflection to 15. Specular, it'll be taller. Okay, that's much nicer. Now I don't like how plastic this looks. In this specific scene, I'm not liking how plastic this looks. So, bring down that. Go on the reflection, bring it up to 35. Obviously you'll be getting different results. Be sure to show me them on Twitter, whatever. interesting to see what people actually get out of this. I did a diffusion tab in that now. So it's looking a little bit better, just still not what I'm going for, so I will just adjust the lighting a little bit to this. And I will go on my first light and I will bump it up. We'll add another light. And we'll bring it in kinda on top this time. We'll make it not so warm. Still a little bit. And shadow mode soft. And you could even see how that, oh god no. Okay, so it's looking a little nicer, but it's getting a bit, I like this kind of silver highlight coming down here. So we're just going to adjust our lights all around. It doesn't look like it has much depth at the minute, but a nice color correction will do that for us. Bring this one in from more of a left angle, 50%, make it cold. Give another render. Okay, nice, so we've got a really nice trim coming up here now. I am just going to adjust this material much more. Bring down my bump. Okay, so I've just gone into my material and I've noticed here that I've got the reflection on black, which is limiting and giving it that plastic look. You can see now, it's looking much nicer. Now because this is a flat surface, there's only so much we can get out of the reflections. So I'm going to do 50, I'm going to bring that up even more. Raise the specular. Okay, nice. Now I'm going to do my depth of field. So if we come in our camera, and you come to focus object, select this thing, select the keyboard, then go to details, and DOF map front blur and DOF map rear blur. Turn both of those on, come to our project settings, make sure to maybe 15%. And down the distance, blur a little bit. Now we render that. Now we've got a nice blur up here, a nice blur at the back. So if we just adjust our camera now, just adjust it. Okay, I'm liking that. Looks very shiny, very metal. Very nice. Okay, you can see now, photorealism is coming along ever so slightly. Not loads, but that is a much later process. You won't find that happening right away at all. So, bring the reflection back up on that. Okay. So this is looking quite grey right now, which isn't what we want. But once a color correction is applied, it will definitely change up. So I'll put some simple curves on here. Get this by just right clicking in color correction. So control click, sorry. Control click. Don't typically do color corrections in cinema, but to give an example of what I'm looking for, and if we turn up our saturation, contrast, exposure a little bit, and do the brightness. Much nicer. That's not, but the keyboard is looking how we want it. So, under the saturation. Okay, nice. Bring that up. Okay, so we will have a nice image in the background here. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring that light in from more of that angle. Set to 75%. Now, because we've changed our camera angle, I'm actually going to bring this over here. So now, oh, that almost made me puke. That was horrible. I need to clear that up with a vape hit. See that? That's fucking beautiful. I'm loving that. Oh, that is so sexual. You know, I'm just gonna stop and jack off. No, I'm kidding. Right. So you can see the wires getting a nice blur. That's actually so fucking sexual. Right, we're gonna group our lights. Group objects. Lighting. I'm gonna name the sky HDRI. I'm gonna name this Pornhub. I'm gonna name this desk. Okay. So next things, you could really put a lot into this scene, you know. If you have some mouse models, if you have modeled a mouse, you could put a mouse over it. Well, I don't know, you might do that unless you're lefty. So, you know, you could put a mouse, or, you know, you could put a monitor in the background. You could really do a lot with this. I've seen a picture a little while back, actually, during the Soror scene. Some guy done a really nice model and he put it in a scene and stuff. Ah! Right, okay. So I've just done this quickly. I've put my... Right. Okay, that's brilliant. I'm going to bring these into one mesh. I'm going to come into my modeling and make this a little more... Huh? Huh? What? So if you are looking to... Okay. If you are looking to animate this in Photoshop, if you bring in the image and just track your camera movements from Cinema 4D and enable 3D object on the image of the background you want to use, then it'll track itself and you'll have the background working. I will do an example of that and show you also. Okay, so that looks nice. But these were all examples, so I think I may throw out some of these things now. That's just trial and error, experimenting. So we are here now. Let's do an animation. Let's grab a circle. Let's rotate that 90 degrees in the y-axis. Let's bring this up. Duplicate the Pornhub camera. Call that X and XX. Then we're gonna Cinema 4D tags. Align to spline. To the circle. Cinema 4D tags. Target. Target the Razer Deathstalker or your preferred model. And now we're gonna raise the circle. So we're gonna come out of that. I'm gonna raise it. We're gonna come into our spline tag. I'm gonna move that around. Bit there. We're gonna come in the circle, increase the radius. Okay, cool. So what we'll do, we'll set keyframe on frame 0. 3 seconds is okay. And we'll just kind of come in like that very slowly. Sneaky beaky like. Okay, cool. Oh great, it didn't fucking keyframe right. Like that. So just a nice slow. I want it to be slow, no John. Five seconds. Okay, cool, but that's still too much, so we'll bring it back in a little bit. Okay, nice. So now, if we come back into our spline tag, keyframe the position in 5 seconds. Okay, nice. Just got a nice little animation here going on. Always do your camera movements attached to splines, whether that's a freehand that goes like that, anything. Just always attach them to splines, please. For the love of God, do not just like keyframe it from the camera. Just don't. Right. I may make a tutorial on camera movements at some point, but yes, please stick to the way it's meant to be done. Okay, cool, so we'll give this another render quickly. Okay, cool. So you see that? Now, that's pretty much it. Once it comes into Photoshop or After Effects, I will show finished examples. It's really where it takes a turn. Your color corrections, your particles, your optical flares, everything to make it as photorealistic as possible. Photorealism isn't just done on your render quality. I'll bear in mind this isn't a full render right now. Once everything's bumped up, what I'll do actually is while I'm just finishing this, I will show you just so you can see the difference. Quickly. Anytime today. We'll put on global illumination also. Legacy. Hi. Okay. So, focus on your color corrections. Focus on your depth of field, your blurs. When it comes in, have like a heavy lens blur at first and it fades out, really make it feel alive. Get a background that fits it, blur out the background because the focus is on the keyboard. Do not have when you put your background in, whether it's Photoshop, whether it's After Effects, make sure you apply a blur to that and blur it out. Otherwise, it will make this scene obsolete. So that's everything I can give you today. If you want more tutorials like this on kind of little things, I would do it because I know it can seem a lot more intricate than it actually is. This is basic stuff, very basic. But people don't always understand it because it takes a level of skill and creativity to learn how to do this with a clear mind. So, follow this, create 5-10 pictures, then you'll be able to do it off your own head. That's how I learned, so many other people learned. Don't do tutorials for client work, do it for your own practice. Follow tutorials and create multiple developments of that and see what results you get, and you'll get better and better, and you will begin to remember it more and more and more. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one.